As the clock ticked closer to midnight, the babysitter, Jessica, could feel a chill run down her spine. She was supposed to be looking after 3 young boys, Tommy, Mikey, and Danny, while their parents were attending a late-night event. But something just didn't feel right. The house seemed unusually quiet, and the air felt heavy with an unsettling silence. It started with a strange noise coming from the closet in Tommy's room. At first, Jessica tried to ignore it, thinking it was probably just a loose item that had fallen. But the noise only grew louder and more persistent, like something scratching and tapping from within. She couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. Summoning her courage, she crept towards the closet and slowly opened the door. What she saw inside made her blood run cold. There, crouched in the corner, was a shadowy figure, barely distinguishable from the darkness surrounding it. Its eyes glowed with an eerie, otherworldly light, and its presence exuded malevolence. Jessica stumbled back in terror, her heart pounding in her chest. As she tried to process what she had just witnessed, she heard a sound from downstairs. It was a faint creaking noise, as if someone was slowly ascending the stairs. Someone was in the house with them. Fearing for the safety of the boys, Jessica hurriedly gathered them and hid in a locked bedroom. She called the police, her voice trembling as she recounted the chilling encounter in Tommy's room. The dispatcher assured her that help was on the way, but as they waited, an overwhelming feeling of dread washed over her. It was as if the very walls of the house were closing in on them. Minutes that felt like hours passed, and finally the police arrived. The boys clung to Jessica, seeking comfort in her presence, while the officers searched the house. But to their bewilderment, there was no sign of any intruder. No trace of the shadowy figure in the closet or anywhere else in the house. It was as if the ominous presence had vanished without a trace. As the mother arrived home, she was greeted with chaos and confusion. Her house had never been in such disarray, with shattered glass and overturned furniture scattered everywhere. Her heart sank as she realized that her children had been in danger, and she hugged them tightly, grateful that they were safe. The police investigated the incident thoroughly, but no evidence was found to explain the mysterious events that had unfolded that night. They assured the family that it was likely a one-time occurrence, possibly just a vivid imagination fueled by the dark and unfamiliar surroundings. However, Jessica couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to it. She began researching the history of the house and discovered disturbing stories about a previous owner who had disappeared under mysterious circumstances. Rumors circulated that the house was haunted, and that anyone who stayed there alone at night would experience unexplainable terrors. From that night on, the boys refused to sleep alone in their rooms, huddling together in one bed, clinging to each other for comfort. They all shared the same recurring nightmares, dreams of a shadowy figure with glowing eyes watching them from the darkness. Despite Jessica's best efforts to reassure them, the fear lingered, and they couldn't escape the feeling that they had all narrowly escaped something truly terrifying. As days turned into weeks, strange occurrences continued to plague the household. Unexplained footsteps echoed through empty hallways, and objects inexplicably moved from their places. The family became more and more on edge, never feeling truly alone, even in the daylight. One night, as Jessica stayed late to help the family with some chores, she heard a soft whispering coming from the walls. It was as if the house itself was trying to convey a message. The whispers grew louder and more urgent, sending shivers down her spine. She couldn't make out the words, but the tone was unmistakably malevolent. Terrified, she rushed outside to escape the eerie sounds. As she stood in the cold night air, she couldn't shake the feeling that the shadowy figure was still out there, lurking in the darkness, waiting for its next victim. Her instincts told her that the threat had not dissipated. It had merely retreated, biding its time. Family decided to move out of the house, seeking a fresh start in a new environment. But the memories of that dreadful night and the sinister presence that haunted them would remain etched in their minds forever. No matter where they went, the chilling experience followed them like a malevolent specter, a constant reminder that some fears cannot be escaped. The intruder was never caught, leaving the family and Jessica in a perpetual state of unease. They learned to live with the uncertainty, forever changed by the encounter with the unknown. The babysitter moved on to other jobs, but the events of that fateful night would forever color her perspective on the unseen forces that may lurk in the shadows. In the end, some secrets are best left undisturbed, for once unleashed, they can never be contained again. The darkness had claimed a part of their lives, and no matter how hard they tried to forget, the memory of that night would haunt them all forever, a lingering nightmare that would ensure sleepless nights for years to come. The moon hung low in the midnight sky, casting an eerie glow upon the forgotten graveyard. The silence was suffocating, broken only by the faint rustling of leaves and the occasional distant hoot of an owl. Michael, a curious young man with a penchant for exploring the macabre, had always been drawn to the stories surrounding this ancient burial ground. As he stepped through the wrought iron gate, a shiver danced down his spine, but he brushed it off as mere excitement. Moonlight revealed weathered tombstones, their inscriptions faded by time. Michael's flashlight flickered as he ventured deeper, revealing crypts with crumbling facades and statues that seemed to leer at him. A sudden chill enveloped the air, and Michael's breath misted before him. He could feel eyes upon him, an unseen presence lingering just beyond his vision. Nervous laughter escaped his lips as he joked aloud about the spirits watching him, but his laughter was met with a sinister echo, as if the very graveyard mocked his bravado. Drawn to a particularly dilapidated mausoleum, Michael hesitated at the entrance. The heavy door creaked open on its own, revealing a pitch-black interior. Swallowing hard, he stepped inside, his flashlight's beam revealing ornate coffins lining the walls. As he moved deeper, the door slammed shut behind him, the sound echoing like a death knell. Panic surged within Michael as he fumbled for his flashlight, the beam now feeble and dim. Whispers filled the air, disembodied voices hissing incomprehensible words that seemed to crawl into his mind. Shadows danced along the walls, taking on twisted forms that seemed to mock his fear. A guttural growl echoed through the chamber, and Michael spun around to face a grotesque figure emerging from the darkness. Its eyes glowed with malevolence, and its fingers ended in razor-sharp claws. Frozen in terror, Michael could only watch as the creature advanced, its breath cold as death. Desperation gave him strength, and he bolted toward the entrance, slamming into the door with all his might. It swung open, and he stumbled out into the moonlit graveyard, his heart pounding like a drum. He didn't dare look back as he sprinted through the gate, the anguished cries of the creature fading behind him. From that night on, Michael's once curious spirit was forever haunted. The graveyard's secrets had not remained buried, and its malevolent guardian would forever lurk in the shadows, waiting for the next unsuspecting soul to wander into its domain.